Yo, welcome to Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wally. We got a big show for y'all today. We talking boxing. You know we talking. We got Byron here. Man, we had a big time super welterweight fight. But before we get into that, make sure you go on Spectator Sporting. Subscribe to that page on YouTube. Like, comment, TikTok. Keep running those numbers up. Keep letting Byron know exactly how y'all feel. Man, we appreciate it. And if you're riding in your car, go ahead and put that Spotify on because we on there as well too. Sebastian Fundora scored a 7th round TKO against Tszyu to retain his WBC and WBO super welterweight belt, improving to 23-1-1 with 15 knockouts. Tszyu suffers his second defeat against Fundora as Fundora reach was giving him way too many issues. Tszyu falls to 25-3 after getting knocked down. In the first round, he fought hard. He tried to come back, but in the 7th round, it just wasn't working out no more for him. Byron, talk about this fight.
Man, sad day. One of the biggest dogs at 154 is now kaput. Tszyu falls to the Towering Inferno, and shout out to Fundora, who kind of reinvented himself. Coming into this fight, he actually used the 80-inch reach and dominated Tszyu with basically not accurate punching because he jabbed 306 times. Yeah. He only landed 34 for 11% connect rate. But I think the jabs were just to set up his power punch. Basically, just getting that right hand out there to set up left. The main course of this fight was his left hand. He landed 118 power shots in 7 rounds. And I think he just basically took control of a Tszyu who was tentative, who stood in front of him, and basically looked gunshot. Didn't look like the same Tszyu, and as Adi always alludes to, those big knockouts change you. You're not the same fighter. And I have to absolutely admit it. Like, man, Tszyu is not the same fighter. He was absolutely dominated in this fight. I can't take anything away from Fundora. When he fights with that 80-inch reach, Jesus Christ. He looks different. He looks very, very confident. I still don't think he can stand in there with a big puncher because he gets hit.
Tszyu did hit him a few times.
I'm talking about, there are times in this fight, you're looking at these guys, in my older advanced years, I don't want these guys to have, health issues years down the line. But God damn, you gotta appreciate fighters that just throw caution to the wind and just throw to get each other out. Shout out to Tszyu, shout out to Fundora. I think they gave us 2 very, very great fights. Just sad at the result that, Tszyu is kind of out of the conversation of this super competitive 154-pound division, but I'm not going to take anything away from Fundora. This is a hell of a fight and something he can definitely build on moving forward with his career.
Absolutely. Fundora, after scoring that knockdown in the first round, that kind of set the tone of the fight. It made Tszyu may have flashbacks of the fight before. Adi, talk about this fight.
Yeah, the Towering Inferno, Sebastian Fundora knew exactly what got him in trouble in that first fight versus Tszyu. He took too many right hands from Tszyu, too many powered right hands. And he made the proper adjustments, with much more outside boxing, utilizing that 80-inch reach, But Tszyu did not make the proper adjustments in this second fight. Very little head movement, kept his head on the center line, Very little footwork and feints, And in the first round, Tszyu made the same error that he made against Bakhram Murtazaliev, He threw that left hook with his right guard down, and Fundora countered with a left hook and dropped Tszyu just like it was in the Murtazaliev fight, And so Tszyu would get up, but he was too stationary, getting caught up and getting stuck in that corner too much as Fundora was going off, letting off a lot of punches and everything, and that Fundora straight left hand was a problem. That straight left, he was setting up with that southpaw jab, but he had come with that straight left hand, and it brought a lot of problems to Tszyu. In the 7th round, it looked like Tszyu was going to gained some momentum, landing some right and left hooks, but
back and forth.
Fundora responded with power punches of his own, and surprisingly, Tszyu's corner threw in the towel.
Well, there's talk that he quit because they say he was asked, did he want to continue? And he said no. So, as a Tszyu fan, I'm calling it no mas. You quit. Because, it was like after that, then they said the corner made the decision, but they specifically said that whoever the doctor was asked, do you want to continue? Tszyu said no. That is no mas.
Yeah.
That is quitting on the stool.
Well, the interviewer was talking to Tszyu after the fight, like, man, why didn't you continue? And he was just saying, like, man, that's a tough guy over there, Fundora.
Yeah, it's a tough MF.
Yeah, tough motherfucker over there. Yeah.
No, Tszyu is a ghost of his former self, like a ghost of his former self, and yeah.
But see, the thing is, Brian Mendoza is the only man to defeat Sebastian Fundora, and like Tszyu, he had a 10-inch reach disadvantage. But Brian Mendoza had a lot more footwork and a lot more head movement against Fundora, okay? And you look at the 6'2" Usyk going against a 6'9" Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
He's outboxed him. Yeah, he's just moving footwork. I mean, Turkey Al-Sheikh likes to call it Tom and Jerry, but no, man, it's just good boxing. It's good footwork.
Yeah.
You the shorter man, you had a disadvantage. Okay, well, move a lot more. Okay, because Fundora, he's kind of like he don't have a lot of good footwork. He's just standing there throwing that jab.
He's using long arms, man, that reach.
Yeah, so if you move around a lot more, then you'd be good. And that's what I'm saying. It might be time for his uncle/trainer, Igor Gulabev. It might be time for him to go. I mean, it's been time for him to go. Okay, but his uncle/trainer, he took a big L for this fight. They did make the proper adjustments, okay, and so I don't want to say he's done, but he needs to do a lot. Change that trainer.
What I put was he needs to reinvent his offense. He needs a way to sustain his offense over the course of a fight, meaning not just going there on Rocky mode every fight, planning to get bloodied and turn Super Saiyan in the championship rounds and try to knock guys out. Tszyu had no offense, and when the jabs were coming, he did not have an answer. He did not have the footwork. He did not have a plan to get. It was just like land the right or bust, and he got bust by a jab and 118 power shots.
He was one-dimensional.
Yeah, very one-dimensional. Very one-dimensional.
So could this just be a classic saying what they say, styles makes fights? Like sometimes an opponent just has your number.
No, I think in this fight was won by Fundora making adjustments.
Yes.
I think in the first fight, Tszyu would have won that fight. I think Tszyu would have won that fight if the cut didn't happen.
Okay.
This fight, Fundora had a full camp, and you can tell that he has people in his camp that are like, listen, we're going to go at this smart. We're not going to put you in a fight where you got to fight this guy on the inside. We're going to use that 80-inch reach. And honestly, Tszyu didn't have anything he had no type of retort to that jab. And even getting out the way of the jab. It was like he was just moving back toward the ropes, which I'm screaming like, don't go toward the ropes. Yeah. That's where you don't want to be with this guy. Yeah. But just looking at Tszyu since the knockout, really since the Fundora cut, he has not been the same fighter. And then to put on top of that, with the cut and the bloodiness, then you have the knockout. And what we have now is a trainer desperately in need of switching up his entire corner, who needs to reinvent himself. Yeah. And, I will never say that Tszyu, I think he's too smart to be called a brawler, but he has calculated aggression. And when he sets up his shots, he's very dangerous. But something has happened, the wires are crossed, and he definitely needs to sit down for a year and just try to figure out if he wants to keep going with this sport or, how he wants to be competitive. Because at 154, you're in a division where you can't be on both sides of the fence. You better be locked in, because you're going to have stiff competition because of your name every fight that you fight at 154. Because when you're trying to play catch up, now you got to fight those dogs to get back to the top.
Yeah.
Nah, definitely. So, Sebastian Fundora, Adi, 7th round TKO. So now, whatever happened with Tszyu, Fundora came out a strong winner, showed himself, retained both his belts. What do you think is next for Sebastian Fundora?
Yeah, well, Sebastian Fundora has been in some vicious battles versus Erickson Lubin, versus Brian Mendoza in 2 fights against Tim Tszyu, okay? The Towering Inferno is the tallest 154-pound guy by far, okay? Yeah. The second tallest guy in the top 10, ranked in the top 10 at 154 would be Bakram Murtazaliev. He's 6 foot tall, okay? So this man's gonna have the height advantage over everybody, reach advantage over everybody. And it sounds like Fundora is done with the ducking, okay? He said he would agree with a unification fight with Bakram Murtazaliev. But it looks like Bakram will be fighting the IBF #1 contender, Erickson Lubin, all right? And so, now before agreeing to a fight with the rematch with Tim Tszyu, Sebastian Fundora had a choice. He could have defended his WBC and WBO belt versus the 22-year-old Puerto Rican phenom, Xander Zayas. He's a #1 WBO contender, okay? But, of course, my man Fundora, he decided to get stripped and go for the rematch against Tim Tszyu.
Which is stand up. Like, I'm not gonna knock him for that. I thought that was stand up because, you know, you kind of came into the Tszyu fight with an opportunity because you were call-in because of a health scratch. So you took that man belt, you get that man a chance to get back. You know, not for a belt, but a rematch. So I thought that was stand up. A lot of people said he was ducking, but I thought it was just a stand up move.
Yeah, and Bakram Murtazaliev called him stupid for getting stripped. Because he said he could have got had the 2 belts.
That's true.
Yeah. And then he could have fought Bakram and would have had 3 belts.
That's
okay,
true.
so Bakram said that was real dumb, all right? And so now Xander Zayas will be fighting will be fighting this Saturday for the vacated WBO belt that Fundora just vacated. He's going to go against the Ring Magazine #10 Junior Middleweight contender George Garcia Perez. Okay, so and Fundora says he wants to fight the winner of that fight, then he'll get his WBO belt back. Okay, but this tall, tough, towering inferno Sebastian Fundora has what it takes to be the first undisputed junior middleweight since the Iron Man, Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo, are you coming back? We'll see.
We will see. We will see. Fundora, 23-1-115 knockouts. What's next for Fundora in your eyes?
I don't know. And if you look at my notes, it says, what will Fundora do? I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. Unfortunately, Fundora is part of the PBC. And the PBC had a fucked up weekend this weekend. They had Barrios fight to a draw against a 46-year-old legend, one of my favorite fighters of all time, Manny Pacquiao. And there's this low rumor that is just going around, PBC is broke, PBC is broke, PBC is broke. And it's starting to gain momentum, it's starting to gain strength, and you don't look at PBC as a faction that can make a big type of fight. I would love for Fundora to go after the boogeyman of 154, and that is Murtazaliev. He beats the shit out of Tim Tszyu, and nobody wants to fight him. So I would love for that name, you know, but I kind of put that name on my imagination list, imagination land list, because I don't think the PBC wants him to fight that fight. I think they want him to fight a fight that is easy on their pocketbook to make, and one that'll kind of vault him up, bring him a little recognition. So I think the #1 guy in that sense for a PBC friendly type fighter is one-time Keith Thurman, who was at the fight and had some comments on it. I think Fundora will fight Keith Thurman, and the reason being is because as we tried to tell the boot stands, unifying the division is very difficult, especially when you have the belts owned by different factions. So you're not just going to go into a division in a year and say, I'm a champion and you're a champion, so let's have a unification bout, because the price tags don't match. People want more money, as champions. So for whatever reason, it doesn't happen. But I think Fundora, as good as he looked against Tim Tszyu, as Adi alluded to, he fights with his feet planted in cement. Mm-hmm. And I don't see him being as successful against a fighter like a Keith Thurman. And it's not so much that Keith Thurman is this ultra skilled guy, but I think Keith Thurman is smarter than Fundora when it comes to the IQ in the ring. And I think Keith Thurman will be a very tough fight for him. I think that fight will kind of push him, and it won't be, you're going against someone with the aggression and the power of a Tszyu, but you'll go with somebody who will weigh back, pick their shots, won't let you just sit and do that jab. And if you coming at Keith Thurman just throwing shots, he has the footwork enough to put himself in position to hurt you very bad. And Keith Thurman can get you out. The only thing is we haven't really seen Keith Thurman at 154, so we don't know what right now it's all talk.
But he beat Brock Jarvis. He knocked out Brock Jarvis.
Yeah, he did. I mean, but that, for me, he did fight that fight at 154, but we ain't really seen him against the metal at 154, and that's the Jermell Charlo's, and I'm not saying he's gonna jump up there and get the guys with the belt, but I think this is a great opportunity for Keith Thurman to go in there and get a guy that is in the conversation. And Keith Thurman is said he's not retiring, he wants a fight, and so that's a fight that I would love to see. I would love to see Jermell Charlo against Fundora. I think that'll be a good fight. Very competitive fight. But right now, I think the PBC is looking for an opponent that is not going to challenge Fundora, who's not going to beat him, because they need him as it relates to the 154-pound.
Well, they have David Benavidez.
I mean, they have David Benavidez at 175. I'm talking about
at 154.
I'm talking about 154.
Right.
And so they need him to, tactically go at this division. They want him to be a champion, but they want him to avoid the smoke. Similar to Spence. And it's a sad reality. It's not a good reality, but it is what boxing is. So I think Keith Thurman versus Fundora is something that is closer to reality than a Murtaza Aliyev fight.
Well, Keith Thurman and Iron Man Jermell Charlo was in this big debate on social media for like 10 minutes talking shit about each other. I would love to see the winner of that fight.
I just want to see Keith. I'm tired of hearing Keith Thurman talk, to be honest.
Right.
I don't hate Keith Thurman, but Keith Thurman is that one person that you just hate. Like, some of y'all probably just hate to hear me talk, but y'all keep coming here to listen to me, which is crazy. But I don't go to Keith Thurman's pages to listen to him talk. I really don't like to hear him talk because he talks so much shit. But I cannot deny the champion that Keith Thurman was. Right. I cannot deny how smart he is in the ring. And I think gatekeeper status is something that Keith Thurman can have. He'd be a hell of a gatekeeper at 154, but it's just, I want him to prove that he can bang at 154. And if you beat a Jermell Charlo at 154, then I will announce you gatekeeper of this division. But Keith Thurman, his mouth can get him a fight. And I think between Jermell Charlo and Fundora, with the layoff that he's coming off, that's a fucking win.
And then it's another guy who I'm hopeful to get Fundora. It would be Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Yeah.
And that's because Boots Ennis doesn't want to fight him next. He wants to fight a tune-up fight or some kind of tomato can. And Turkey Al-Sheikh is upset with that because Turkey Al-Sheikh wants Boots to fight Virgil Ortiz Jr. That's what Turkey wants to happen this fall. He wants it to happen in maybe November sometime. But it seems like Eddie Hearn and Boots Ennis is not trying to fight Virgil Ortiz this year. They want some kind of tune-up. And so I would like to see Virgil Ortiz get a crack at Fundora. I think Fundora could have success with Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz does like to come forward. He is a pressure fighter. So I think Fundora could have some success.
I think Virgil Ortiz attacks his body and puts him out in the championship rounds. Like, Virgil Ortiz is very calculated with his aggression. And he attacks the body. And I looked at Tszyu, later in that fight, he started going to the body, but I was just thinking, if you would have just went hell bent to his body instead of trying to sit there and not navigate that jab, he would have had so much more success. And Virgil Ortiz is going to that body. I'd take Virgil Ortiz in that fight.
That'd definitely be a great fight if it was to happen. But Fundora, man, shout out to him, man. He showed out. He did what he was supposed to do. Now I know, Byron, you already kind of alluded to for Tszyu, but after going through this again, he's had a couple rough fights. For whatever reason, it ain't all his fault. what do you think is next for him?
I don't want to see him no more.
It's over?
No, I'm not going to say over, but Tszyu needs to sit down for a year.
Okay.
And he needs to sit down for a year. He needs to sit down. And
make sure he still want to do this.
Yeah, make sure he still wants to do it, because you can't be Rocky in this modern day of boxing. And you can't go in there and just try to slug it out with a tactically sound boxer. You'll get annihilated. You'll get hurt. And I like the fight of Tszyu. Tszyu, I really feel will fight anybody.
Yeah.
But that knockout really changed him. So I really feel like he needs a drastic change to his entire corner. He needs to reinvent himself. He needs to reinvent his offense. He needs to figure out how to make his offense work over 12 rounds. Not just, if I don't get you out to 1 through 8, then I'm screwed. No, I want to see you working behind the jab. I want to see better footwork. And he's going to have to pay some money and get with a big trainer. I think a big trainer would want to be with him, Just avoid Derrick James at all costs. And my man who putting the steroids in the tacos. But I think what's best for Tszyu right now is to sit down, be with your family. I don't like him taking all that damage and, just eating 118 power shots in 7 rounds. That's a lot. And this kid has kind of made a career of having this Rocky type style, going in there, being able to slug it out. And I think he just met that one opponent, and just bad luck for this kid. Just bad luck. Just ran into 2 opponents that just were on the opposite sides of each other, but just obliterated him. And so I think he really needs to take some time to recover and get his head right and see what he needs to do going forward. But I think a sit down has to be like at the top of his list.
He failed 25-3 now, Adi. I mean, you heard what Byron said. Maybe you need to sit down. You feel the same way?
Yeah. I mean, Tszyu, he will be 31 years old in November. Okay, he's not an old man, but he has been losing to some tall fighters. Bakaram 6 foot and Sebastian Fundora 6'5". What he needs to do, Uncle Igor, is time to go. It's time to get, say goodbye to Uncle Igor in a gym and get another trainer and take a year off. Take a year off. Yeah, I agree. Take a year off. And when you come back, fight against some tall fighters. Fight against some guys that's like 6 foot tall, 5'11", 5'10", 6'1". Yeah, so because the guys he's been losing to has a significant height advantage over him. So fight some guys, and maybe a couple of cupcakes and this and that, heavy underdogs.
Get your confidence up.
Get a power jab to the body. And I think he's like the perfect size with some footwork where he can land a strong straight left to the body and then move around. But don't just think you can sit and eat that amount of jabs, even though he only hit at an 11% connect rate, but it's just like you weren't moving. And even the broadcasters were pointing it out, like he's just not moving. His head is just right there.
Head on the center line. They tell you
it's like you dared Fundora to fight me big, and he did, and he whooped that ass.
Head movement. Look at some Usyk technique. Move your head. Do some feints.
Old Tyson videos.
Yeah,
Tyson. Fight tall fighters.
Pacquiao fought tall. He just fought barrier. 6 foot tall. Pacquiao was what, 5'4", 5'5".
Yeah.
So he's got to make some adjustments. He can come back. I don't see Tszyu retired. I'll be shocked if he retired. Even if he said he retired, I wouldn't believe it. I just think he got too much heart to call it quits now. But he does need to sit down for a minute.
He does.
He definitely need to sit down. I mean, he tried to fight back in that fight after the first round, but it just wasn't enough.
I enjoyed the fight.
Yeah, it was a definitely entertaining fight. But shout out to Sebastian Fundora. 7th round TKO. You've been watching Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wally. Shout out to Byron. Make sure y'all go on Spectator Sporting. Subscribe to that page on YouTube. Like, comment. Go on TikTok. Keep subscribing. Keep liking on there as well. Keep commenting. And if you're in your car, go ahead and listen to it on Spotify. And in the meantime, in between time, we out. Peace.